Welcome back to Tendencies. I am your host, Jay Suave.
And I am Jreese.
And this week we saw some big news in the NBA. I'm just gonna rip off the band-aid. JJ Redick getting the Los Angeles Lakers job. Everyone was like, what about this podcast with LeBron? Guys, it's shutting down. I mean, of course it is. Why wouldn't it?
Hmm.
But it was surprising to me. And I'm just gonna say that because I get the last time we talked about the Lakers head coach, we talked about Dan Hurley with
Hmm.
UConn. We were thinking that might be the best bet for him because UConn has been a powerhouse in the last 2, 3 years.
Hmm.
Didn't end up working with Dan Hurley. It literally happened the morning after. He was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do it." But I mean, they missed out on. I forget who else they missed out on, and they should have just got Monty Williams. In my opinion, ended
Hmm.
up getting fired, like you said, and just it's just crazy to think about because JJ Redick, his only coaching experience was like the voluntary
Fourth grade volunteer
voluntary
coach.
fourth grade camp, bro. And once I saw that, I was like, bro, I literally don't even know what the Lakers are actually thinking. I mean, for me, it's in the Lakers are in a win now mode.
Hmm.
And win now mode, especially having LeBron, you have Anthony Davis still in his prime. It just doesn't make sense to me, I guess. Especially, it's just like you're trying to start a new era whenever it doesn't need to be started. Like they
Yeah.
have a culture, and I guess they're trying to like just make it seem like they're gonna get a new one with JJ Redick. I don't think it'll happen. It's gonna
Hmm.
make people hate JJ Redick, and I'm already knowing it. If he doesn't succeed, then it's gonna be cooked, bro. Podcast never coming back if he's not a good coach.
Podcast comes back. The first episode's about, so what happened in LA?
Not for real. Be like, why didn't you put me in whenever this happened and this happened? My bad, Brown. They just start fighting on the podcast.
We gonna see JJ Redick show up on the shop, or what's it called? Is that what's called, the shop? Yeah, we can call
Yeah.
just show up there. But personally, I like the move. I don't love it, obviously, because I do think that Monty Williams would have been a better choice, has more experience in the league coaching. He coached the Suns when they went to that finals. You know what I'm saying? So I thought he could have done something special with that Lakers team. But I'm not saying I hate this move. I don't hate it at all. I see the vision. They're talking about how they want him to be like the next Eric Spoelstra because they see that kind of potential in him. And I kind of see it. Eric Spoelstra is a great coach. Honestly, I like obviously as a Heat fan, I'm gonna say that, but like not objectively, Eric Spoelstra is one of the greatest coaches we've seen in the league, one of the greatest coaches in the league at the moment. He's won two finals, he's been to six of them as head coach. So, but the only thing is, Eric Spoelstra, he had experience before becoming head coach. He didn't go straight from head coach. He was grown in the Miami organization. He had assistant coaching jobs within Miami. He was for the first part of Dwayne Wade's career, he was a specialist to help Dwayne Wade grow because Pat Riley obviously was the head coach at that time. So just the only thing I don't like is JJ Redick. Obviously, his first coaching experience is going to be that Lakers team who have high expectations because they are the Los Angeles Lakers. You have LeBron on your team, you have Anthony Davis on your team, and your only coaching experience is fourth grade coaching. Like obviously he has playing experience though, 11 years in the league. So he's making up for that time, making up that time that Eric Spoelstra had, coaching before becoming head coach. He's making up for that with his playing experience. So he's been on the court. He's a very smart player. He wasn't one of the he's not gonna say he's one of the best players of all time. He was a really good player when he was in the league. He'll give you solid buckets throughout the night whenever you needed him to, and that's all you could ask for someone in his position. So I definitely think he's a very smart individual. I think he'll be a better fit than than
Even him.
Darvin Ham. I almost forgot his name. Thank you, Darvin Ham. Um, I definitely think, as we saw, during the podcast, him and LeBron talking about plays, breaking down formations, breaking down certain plays and what they would like to see, how what plays work, why they work. So he has that basketball IQ that I think will translate well. It's just I think now it's just about fixing up that roster because they do have holes. Vanderbilt, I think he would have been a big help down the stretch last year, but obviously he was injured. I definitely think they need to make some moves. D'Angelo Russell's not coming back. Most likely they're probably going to look to trade him. Even though he just re-signed a contract, I definitely think he's going to be moved this offseason. The draft is coming up tomorrow. We should see what's going to happen. Obviously, who knows? LeBron and Bronny James might both be Lakers by the time we're talking next week about the NBA. So I'm not gonna say I hate the move because I don't hate it. I'm not gonna say I love the move, but I definitely like it. I think it's interesting. I think it could work out. I see the potential. I see the upside, but I also see the downside. But I'm leaning more optimistically towards this than other people are.
I don't know, man. I don't think I can agree, bro. And that's literally just because I'm just still on the win now situation. And I get that he doesn't care what critics say, but at this point, it's more of a hiring a team leader
Mhm.
at this point, you know?
Mhm.
And whenever you look at that, I know JJ Redick, you said great basketball IQ. Most coaches, if not all of them, already have a high basketball IQ because all of them either played in the NBA
Mhm.
or they played in college, coached in the NBA, or just was a coach for a long time before. So, I mean, whenever he says he wants to coach the Lakers, of course he wants to coach the Lakers. But I mean, I I just don't know if it'll go well. And I like JJ Redick. He's a dope guy, and I'm glad he got the job. I just don't know if it'll go good for him.
The only thing I'll say is the only way he can succeed as a Lakers head coach is he cannot be a LeBron yes man. If he's a LeBron yes man, like obviously LeBron's my favorite player all time. Love LeBron. Um, but he can't LeBron can't be in the coach's ear like he was with Darvin Ham. I feel like he wasn't, but like you know what I'm saying? Like he was in the ear of Darvin Ham, but not as much as you would think. Because if he was, obviously, there would have been that turmoil at the end of Darvin Ham's career or his run as a Lakers head coach. But we saw this back in Cleveland. We saw this when on the Lakers when he first got there. He had a lot of moves and leeway with the front office and with the coaching staff. And he kind of ran the team. You know what I'm saying? We need JJ Redick to be able to take over that team to lead, to make LeBron maybe do some things he's kind of uncomfortable with. Kind of use him in a different role than LeBron might want at this point in his career. But just whatever works to see the Lakers team succeed. So,
Yeah,
like
and
I
that's
said, he
and that
can't. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna agree with you. I mean, that's what I meant about like being a team leader.
Mhm.
Because honestly, with a team like this, of course you could be player led, and some teams that win championships are player led. But like, whenever you're a historic franchise like the Lakers, you have LeBron James on your team, you have Anthony Davis on your team. You need a like the one thing about LA, they have historic coaches too.
Mhm.
So like Darvin Ham is not gonna be one of those guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, whenever they had Rob Pelinka, he wouldn't even be one of those guys because I mean that was a player-led team, but they were still able to win that championship.
Mhm.
But you didn't see much of like Rob Pelinka in the media just because they were playing so well, you know.
Mhm.
Whenever you start playing bad, all eyes are on Darvin Ham. But it was like once they hit that, they never bounced back from it. You feel me? And only
Mhm.
won one game in the playoff series. So I mean, good thing they're ending that podcast too, because like
Yeah, that would have
imagine
been
it's just
bad.
imagine it's just like Draymond, you lose by 40 and the podcast drops like an hour later.
Mhm.
I'd be so sick, bro.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a great look for a head coach, no matter what. You know what I'm saying? No, like a head coach should never have a podcast because that means because they're more focused. Like Draymond, the players it's more understandable. They have more time, but the coaches need to be locked in 24/7. Figuring out new schemes, what to do, stuff like that. The only thing I hope before is JJ Redick doesn't fold under the pressure because being a head coach is a lot of pressure, especially for your first coaching job. Aside from that volunteer experience, it's going to be a lot difficult. He's been around coaches, so he kind of knows what they go through, but he hasn't never been a coach at that kind of level. Like even if he was a high school coach or a college coach, he'll have that understand experience of the time and effort he needs to put in at to the game. Like it's different than what you put into the game as a player. So
Yeah.
hopefully he doesn't fold under pressure. But I'm rooting for JJ Redick. Definitely am.
I am too, bro, but I'm gonna just say now I would not be surprised if that doesn't work out.
Hmm.
And I I don't know if I can just see that, bro.
But you know what? We talked about it briefly, but Monty Williams was obviously fired from the Detroit Pistons. I don't know if we talked about it last week. But I just want to ask you, how do you feel about that? Because it shocked me honestly.
That's such a stupid move, bro.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you, and I literally talked to one of my boys about it. And I'm gonna say this: I'm glad he got fired, but I'm glad he got fired because he got fired from the Pistons. Like,
Hmm.
of course, it would be the Pistons. No coach is gonna succeed on that team, bro. They're gonna fire the next coach they have in like 2 years, bro, or maybe even a year. And honestly, the roster built terribly.
Hmm.
Or how can you even expect to be good? Like, I literally saw a dude before the NBA season started. He was comparing this Pistons team to the 2001 Lakers. What? Like he was literally saying I forget his name. His name's Jalen though. But literally he was literally saying, yeah, bro, like he gives off hints of like Kobe. You ain't never heard from him all year. Like what? Come on now, brother. But I mean, as a fan, you got to be optimistic. But whenever you literally only win like 8 games, bro, how can you be optimistic?
And there's not a lot to be optimistic about. Like, I mean, one of the moves I'm hearing the Detroit Pistons are looking to make is to get Tim Hardaway Jr. from the Dallas Mavericks. Tim Hardaway Jr. is not going to save your franchise. He's not
At
going to
all.
save y'all.
I feel like they were monitoring him. Like
Hmm.
what? Why?
Hmm.
Like what?
Like, bro had one good game in a blowout and had a historic 1/4 of a finals game. Like he wasn't playing great before that. He wasn't playing great after that. So let's not boost him. He's not gonna save your franchise. Your franchise needs a lot more help. Y'all need Prime Shaq to come back and kind of carry your team. But that's not gonna happen. So
Nah, bro. Bro, it just kind of sucks because like um the Pistons they could have if they would have just had the first pick, they could have gotten Wemby.
hmm.
They could have gotten I'm pretty sure they could have gotten what's it called? Anthony Edwards or something like that, but the NBA lottery is always so bad, bro. I mean, I guess it's like fair in a way,
Hmm.
but it's like also not because I think it should just be the worst team drafting. But if that was the
Tanking
case,
is
then it
also a bigger
literally,
issue. Tanking is also a way bigger issue in the NBA than the NFL.
yeah,
So it would be
it's so
pretty
it's so
unfair
much easier to tank in the NBA.
because there's 82 games rather than 16, and
Yeah,
it's
just
just.
ask the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mhm.
But
But yeah, I think it's a bad move. I was really excited when they hired Monty Williams. I was like, man, the Sun should have never let him go. Detroit's gonna turn around in the next few years. Obviously it wasn't this year. Obviously it wasn't this year. I was like, as long as Monty's there, I feel like they have some good pieces. They have Cade Cunningham. They have the rookie, the twin that just got drafted last year. Thought he played pretty solid in his first year. And if they made some more better moves, get some good role players around that team, though that core, they would have been. I wouldn't say they'd be a contender in the next few years, but they would have been in the playoffs, I'd say. But
yeah,
they just gave up on that too quickly, and they didn't give Monty Williams any enough time to shine. So
yeah, bro. And I was so mad about it. And I'm telling you right now, bro, being a fired NBA head coach is probably the best job you can have if it's not in your last year.
like bro still
Because
has like 65 millions left to be paid.
this man had a 6 year, $78.5 million contract, and they fired him first year. They're gonna pay him 65 M's over the next 5 years to not coach the team. I wouldn't even coach the next 5 years.
Hmm.
Like what? Around 12, 13 million a year. Come on now, bro. I'm chilling at the crib. But
I'm
like
saying, bro.
I definitely agree with you. Like they didn't give him time to and like and what's it instill a culture.
Hmm.
And the Pistons need that. They haven't had a culture since the bad boys.
Yeah.
And you sign him for 6 years, you're thinking, okay, let him build something and then just fire him like it's nothing. You didn't
Mhm.
even give him the chance to build what he wanted to build. You feel me?
Exactly.
And you can't even like make sense of that decision whenever it comes to Detroit. Because culture
Hmm.
isn't built overnight. You feel me?
I feel you.
So I'm just like, bro, like literally, if I was Monty, I wouldn't even coach. I'm gonna just let that money come in.
Hmm.
Or if I was Monty, I would just, I don't even know. Everybody got a coach, so it's
Hmm.
like ain't no jobs available for real.
Hey, let's talk about a new contract that just got, though that's going to be signed pretty soon because per multiple reports, Scotty Barnes is planning to sign a 5-year extension worth up to $270 million. And that deal will be worth about 225 million over 5 years and could reach over about 270 if he meets the supermax criteria. And I think that's a good move by the Toronto Raptors. That team is bad, obviously, but Scotty Barnes has been a bright spot ever since he got to Toronto. Obviously, won Rookie of the Year his rookie season. Um, and I think as long as they build around Scotty, they'll be great. Because I thought that Scotty Siakam was gonna be in Toronto for a while, and then
Yeah.
obviously it wasn't because now they're about to give him the max over there in what's it called over there in Indiana. But I like Scotty Barnes. People say he's a little artistic, you know, but but I love the way he plays. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's a great guy. Um, but I think he's probably one of my favorite rising stars. You know what I'm saying? He's not like he's not obviously not the best player in the league or nothing like that. Nothing close to that. But I think he's a good player for that Toronto Raptors team, and obviously they just need to get better around him, which they obviously are trying to do. That's why they traded away people like OG and they traded away Siakam for help to get picks to obviously help move him forward, help center the team around him. You know what I'm trying to say? So I like the contract extension. He's gonna be the highest paid Raptors player of all time, by the way. I forgot to mention that, but yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
Hmm.
I think this is just a bit of overpay.
Hmm.
And I say this, I don't know how contracts really get decided anymore whenever it
Hmm.
comes to the NBA. Because he's about to make $250 million and averaging 19 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. And I'm like, Raptors fans can come at me all they want. I mean, if this guy is going to be your guy over the next 6 years, then so be it. I think Scotty Barnes is an elite defender, most definitely has potential to become a top 10 player in the NBA. And hopefully that comes in the next few years so we can see why he was paid all that money. Because I
Hmm.
remember last year, whenever they gave Jaylen Brown 325 million, they're like, this is overpay. And what did he go do? Got
He showed why he got deserved that
exactly
money.
Eastern Conference Finals MVP and Finals MVP. So it's like, okay, he's actually worth that money. You feel
Hmm.
me? But NBA money is so different, bro.
Hmm.
But I guess the real question to the whole Scotty Barnes situation, you saw you saw that team win what 46 games his rookie year.
Hmm.
You saw them win 41 games his second year. And then you see them win 25 games this year.
Hmm.
And a completely irrelevant team because they already done traded some key pieces. And basically, what's it called? I mean, they had a play-in spot in the sexies, but it didn't even matter at that point.
Hmm.
But I mean, his third season, 25 wins, and I don't know. The extension is just kind of overpaid to me,
Hmm.
but I think they just
But
need to
all,
build. They
yeah.
they need. It's all about who they draft. I'm gonna
Hmm.
say that
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that right now. It's about who they draft because if they're gonna go out and pay him all this money and they don't get the right guys to surround him, then it won't
Hmm.
work. Because Scotty Barnes definitely has that potential. I feel like he has that potential.
Yeah.
And usually a team like the Raptors would have a good lottery pick, or I mean, to have a just high lottery pick in general. I don't think the Raptors do off the top of my head. But I think they're like eighth overall in the draft tomorrow. So I mean, we'll definitely take a look at that. But I feel
Yeah.
like
But
it's
like you
just
said, he definitely does need to prove that he earns that money. Just like Jaylen Brown, everyone said that was an overpay. He obviously proved why he deserved that money. So I don't think Scotty Barnes is gonna win MVP or the Raptors going to the finals. He's winning Finals MVP, but he definitely needs to prove to people that he's one of those guys. He needs to make a NBA pro All Pro team whether that's first, second, third team or all defensive team or something like that. He obviously was an all-star last year, I believe, right? Was it last year or the year before he was an all-star? It was last year, right?
I think it was last year.
Yeah. So he was an all-star. So he obviously um was good enough to become an all-star. But obviously he needs to show why they paid him all that money. They probably do need to help him out, probably get a guard around him to help him
Bronny.
move. If Bronny went to Toronto, that'd be horrible. I'm not gonna lie. I like Bronny, but Toronto, I don't think they could develop Bronny.
Not at
But
all.
but let me look at this. Toronto, they have the 19th pick. No, wait. Yeah, they have the 19th pick because San Antonio has their eighth pick.
Oh yeah, you are
So they
right.
have the 19th pick. So they have a while to go before they get on the board. So
But yeah, bro, having Barnes as your designated franchise player,
mhm,
they got at least 2 to 3 years to he has at least 2 to 3 years to show him what he's about, and they
mhm,
have 2 to 3 years to show him what they're about also. Because it doesn't need to be like a carry job that
yeah.
Luka does every year, like before Kyrie was there, of course.
Mhm.
But I mean, he was an
He has to
all-star
show
last
something.
year,
Yeah.
so he'll just build. I think he'll build off his season from last year, bro. I think he'll be fine.
But let's
Just a
talk about a trade that happened. It's not even a trade really. I say this is an absolute fleece job by the Oklahoma City Thunder, who traded straight up Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso. I think that's just highway robbery right there. Straight up Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso. Alex Caruso brings that defense at the guard position that Oklahoma City obviously needed. That's why they went out to get him. They still need a big man, obviously, but Josh Giddey wanted somewhere he could start so he could be that ball dominant point guard kind of player that he kind of was earlier in his career. But obviously he can't be that because you have SGA, rising to the standards that people had set for him and not MVP caliber player now. So
yeah,
obviously you're coming off the bench, you don't want that. So they trade him for Alex Caruso. And Alex Caruso, they were getting offers for first round picks, multiple first round picks for Alex Caruso. I think what's it called? I think it was the Kings that offered them a first round pick this year and somebody else for Alex Caruso. And they said, no, we want multiple first round picks, and ended up settling for only just Josh Giddey. I don't think Josh Giddey's going to do much for that Bulls team, honestly, because that Bulls team is pretty much imploding now. Because also Zach LaVine's going to get traded. Lonzo Ball's, they're talking about releasing him. So they'll just have DeMar DeRozan, and that's about it. Vucevic, I heard they're looking to trade him as well. So that whole team is just gonna be nut like horrible next year. So like that Josh, I don't know why you just trade for Josh Giddey. He's not gonna help your team that much. He's not like the great. He's not gonna be the best player on your team because you have DeMar DeRozan. He's not gonna be the best
yeah.
scorer on your team. I don't know. He doesn't play incredible defense. I didn't watch a lot of Oklahoma City Thunder games this year, but he didn't play incredible defense when I saw him play. He just played kind of subpar to pretty bad defense. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I don't know what their plan is, the Bulls, because they didn't get no picks out of this. They have nothing to build on, at this point. So I'm just confused at why they made this trade. Oklahoma City, congratulations, you got a great player that's gonna play great for you. Go all out. But the Bulls, y'all really sold the bag with that one.
I'm definitely gonna agree with you. And I'm gonna say that because you trade straight up Caruso for Giddy. Let's look at the board here. You're looking at the board with the OKC. You see how many draft picks they have. You say, hey, they have 5 first round picks in the 2025 season. What? And you're telling me you couldn't get one? Not a single one? Are you actually kidding me? And I'm gonna say not even a second rounder? Like one pick? Literally, bro, their owner just sucks at making trade. I mean, not their owner, their
Mm.
GM, bro. And honestly, trading for Caruso, you got a 30-year-old on a young team, and I'm glad this is the young good team because honestly, I didn't think like Sam Presti was a crazy good coach, but the team's nice, so he's gonna be there for a while. But I mean, you get Caruso, all defensive guy twice as a guard.
Mhm.
But I mean, he Caruso has proved himself in general.
He also
Josh
brings
Giddey,
that veteran presence to the team that the
yeah,
team also needed.
Josh Giddey just hasn't. Josh Giddey could have literally got traded next season
Hmm.
if he didn't do anything. Like, bro, he's like a rental, bro, and he's just a wild card guy. He
Hmm.
can either be good or not good.
Hmm.
And honestly, with the allegations he had anyway, it wasn't even good to keep him in what's it called, um, Oklahoma City. I heard that Shy actually spoke out on the trade.
He did.
I think so. I'm looking it up right now. So I think, well, I think he just ended up commenting on his what's it called post. I don't think they interviewed him or anything. But I mean, Josh Giddey, 31% shooter from the three, and that was, I mean, he could get layups, but like really, there's nothing that he does better than Caruso.
Hmm.
So
At
he
all.
he he was the exploitation
Hmm.
on the Oklahoma City Thunder's defense. So I mean, in my opinion, that was just like, all right then.
Hmm. So just a bad move. Let's talk about some other things. OG Anunoby has declined his player option, so he is a free agent. So he's gonna be looking for a $35 million a year contract from somewhere. He's gonna get it. Obviously, he's a great player. He really helped that Knicks team out, and once he went down, you kind of saw how the Knicks kind of lost that series. But it was a whole bunch of injuries that led to their loss in the second round. Obviously, not just him, because also you got Josh Hart get hurt. You had Jalen Brunson get hurt. So, but OG and Anunoby definitely deserves a contract somewhere. He's gonna get a massive payday wherever he goes. Paul George also is looking. I heard he's looking to go to either the Sixers, the Knicks, or the Warriors. If he goes to the Knicks, he's obviously gonna fill in
Please
that
stay in
OG,
the West, bro.
gonna take that OG
Please.
role, and then that'd be scary. Him on the Knicks,
Just stay in the
insane.
West, bro.
I'm not gonna lie, kind of like PG on the Knicks. I wouldn't mind it. I know you would. I obviously would because I'm a Heat fan. I don't want to see someone else come out the East. But if he goes there, the Knicks will be so crazy. But
Nah, for real. They're
if he's
and
on
they're
this,
still they're still negotiating with Hardenstein too.
hmm
So
hmm because he was also one of the guys that might leave. So hope hopefully they honestly I focus on keeping, especially if they have the possibility of getting Paul George. I look at prioritizing Hartenstein to make sure they secure that big spot, because I definitely feel like Julius Randle is going to get traded at some point, either in offseason or during the season. So I definitely think that big spot needs to be secured. And then if you could replace OG with Paul George, I think that'd be a great move. Obviously, if you can get OG back as well, you should try to do that. But if you can get Paul George as well, either one of those options would be great. PG on the Sixers, that'd also be pretty good. I wouldn't mind that at all. Um, I don't think it'd be as big as a help. I think obviously would help a lot. I think it helped with the Knicks a lot more than it helped the 76ers.
yeah,
Um, but him on the Warriors, I'd
bro.
have to be the Warriors have to be my second favorite team in the league,
Oh my goodness,
because wherever PG goes, what's it called? Wherever PG and Braun go, that's where I'm going. I'm Heat
that's
first,
so
but those
crazy.
two, I'm following them.
That's so crazy.
But what
But
you
bro,
think?
I
Where you think
mean,
he should End up? Do you think he should go back to LA, or what you think?
no, LA's never gonna get over that hump, bro. I don't think so.
Mhm.
And I feel like at this point, Kawhi cares, but like at the same
Mhm.
time, whenever you aren't out there with all your guys, there's got to be some point where you got to be like Joe Mazzulla, you out there on a torn meniscus.
Mhm.
Like it just seems like whenever, especially whenever they played the Mavericks, bro. All the games that they won, did he play or no? We
Yeah,
we
he
had
played
talked.
two of them.
Yeah, you won the two games that you played, but I mean, you got to be out there every game, bro. And unless you much to you. I get you've proved yourself. You have two Finals MVPs. I think Kawhi's won three Finals, but
Mhm.
fam, you've done it by yourself. But everyone always has them like as a not necessarily a sleeper, but a team that should be in the finals every year. Like if I told you, say if you just like knew basketball players, but like didn't watch the NBA at all, and I just told you Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden are all on the same team.
Mhm.
You would think that this team is going to the finals every year.
Mhm.
So like if you just know those guys just based off name, you would think, yeah. And then next thing you know, they haven't even what's it called? Made it to a finals yet.
Mhm.
So it's so sad to see, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, they definitely should have been to the finals. Obviously, they've been to one conference finals, I think, in their whole run together. And that was all primarily Paul George because Kawhi got hurt in
Mm.
the previous round, and Paul George willed them into the Eastern Conference Finals where they obviously lost to the Suns in 2021. So definitely
That was a crazy series.
I definitely think Paul George definitely has a home in LA. People love him in LA. I definitely I still love the potential of the Paul George, Kawhi Leonard duo, but the thing is, it's been potential every year. Bubble, it was the bubble, so like their chemistry was off because everybody wasn't playing. It was just a different breed in the bubble. The 2021 season, Kawhi got hurt. The next year, they got no, they didn't get Russell Westbrook back then, but I think that was when Paul George was hurt, and then the next year they got Russell Westbrook, Paul George and Kawhi were hurt, and this season obviously Kawhi was hurt again. So it's like they haven't been healthy at all since the time they've been together. So I definitely think it's time they split up so that the Clippers can try and build around Kawhi if they still want to, try to get
Yeah.
better around him, and Paul George can go be a missing piece somewhere else, like in Golden State to help him get over the hump. Replace your boy Klay Thompson because Klay Thompson went 0 of 10 in elimination game. Had to mention it. Had to mention it. Or go to the New York Knicks, who are a contender, who are on the rise over here in the East, and your presence would be a big help for them. So,
Yeah.
um, I just think I would like him to go back to LA, but I'm not tripping if he doesn't. There's a lot of better options for Paul George to go somewhere else.
I feel you, bro. Hopefully he finds his home. Honestly, if he decides to stay with um if he decides to stay with the Clippers, thank you for not coming to the East. But if he decides to come to the East, I'm sorry that Jason Tatum's gonna have to do it to you. So
But
and
that's pretty much gonna wrap up this episode. We appreciate you guys. Jay, you have anything to say?
thank you for tuning in this week, bro. I mean, make sure y'all tune into the draft tomorrow night. And what does it called?
See y'all
We'll
next week.
we'll get to y'all later.
All right.